Díhuit agus fáilte go Hocus Pocus Lack of Focus, the very uneducational podcast that fills your ears with a neurodivergent soup filled with ingredients such as witchcraft, true crime, paranormal activity, and a whole heap of shite talk. Today we are starting off our series that Oisin has dubbed What the Fuck is Wrong with America? Today's focus is on the totally chill and not weird at all guys, the Puritans, who I will be referring to as the Puritans. I'm Brother Justy, and for my sins, I will be flagellating myself every time I mention ADHD. Ow. I'm joined today by the good Reverend Oisin Byrne, who will be leading today's sermon and keeping us on the right side of God as we learn about America's beginnings. Good luck with that one.
Greetings, sinners.
Because of course we are joined by someone who would have been burned at the stake for her massive tits, let alone her sailor's mouth. It is the anti-Puritan, our hostess with the most chest, Dani Hummus.
Can you help me with my psalms?
I just think anti-Puritan would be a really good drag name as well.
That's pretty good.
I'm making a
Ladies
note
and
of
gentlemen,
that.
please bring to the stage anti-Puritan.
I already have my drag name ready for when I have to go and do it. It's going to happen at some stage.
When you inevitably have
What
to.
is it?
Grawn you good thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love
That's-
that.
yeah.
That's actually really good.
I know. Trademark, copyright. Nobody steal that.
God damn it.
Not that anybody listens to this.
Grania Good Thing is really good. If they do like a RuPaul's Drag Race Ireland.
Ireland. And it's just a bunch of straight dudes being like, I came up with a name and that's as far as I got.
That's
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
I'm not wearing makeup.
I've absolutely no intention, or I have never had any desire to go and do drag. But when I came up with that,
When you come up with the name.
I came up with the name, and I'm like, I need. To
Yeah,
do
you're like,
this.
I have a whole character I can do.
You're afraid of makeup though. You couldn't do drag. Yeah.
I am afraid of makeup, but I will. I would not mind being sedated and then wake up in full drag.
Wake up in full drag
then
makeup.
you could do
That would
it.
be
It's just the
perfect, yeah.
texture going on and being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay, I get
you can Mr. T me into drag. I ain't getting in no dress.
Fool. I actually had a gentleman over at the
I
weekend.
doubt it.
Ugh,
Um,
definitely not. He couldn't read.
he
Come
wasn't
on.
a gentleman. Yeah,
Me no
no.
gentleman.
Well, he's Australian, so yeah.
yeah,
fuck
definitely
it.
not.
There's not
How many convictions does he have?
Absolutely no such thing as an Australian gentleman.
But like I literally I was sat because we were going out for food the next day, and I was sat doing my makeup, whatever, and he was just like watching me put my makeup on. He was like, "It's like watching shit turn to diamonds." I was just like,
Nice. That was like a
"Excuse me?"
gentleman.
What a fucking charmer.
I know. I was like, "Thanks,
Jesus
Love
fucking
that.
Christ.
love that." No, anyway,
And did you still go for dinner with him?
Oh yeah,
Of course you did. Yeah,
saw him
course.
today. So
Yeah, you're just like, I know my value.
I'm like, yeah, well, whatever, it's fine. Dick's good. It's okay. I'll put up with it for a while. But I'm still like, I have such an avoidant attachment style anyway that it's just like he'll be gone in a couple of weeks. It's all right. It's fine. I don't really care. I'm getting free food and I'm getting the lay. It's good. It's all good.
This podcast seems to be the longest relationship you've had in a while.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
mostly with you, Justy.
Yeah, well, look, I'm like her gay
He's
friend.
stuck
She
with me,
tells me
yeah.
about all the other dicks that she takes. Like, I'm just her gay friend with dreams of being a drag queen.
Okay, Chapel Row.
Okay, so I have been threatening to do episodes about America since my first guest appearance on this show. And the idea that evolved into a series, as Justy said, is what is wrong with America? Or
You say
more
threatening
accurately,
like we were trying to stop you.
yeah, no one tried to stop me. You guys, I came up with a dumb idea, and
Like,
you guys
I'll
were like,
do
yeah.
it. You watch. And we were like,
Yeah, but
okay.
you were just like, oh, you'll write an episode? Cool. I have to do very little this week. So, yes, absolutely.
Because it
I'm
is normally
incredibly
me.
supportive of the what is wrong with America because my conspiracy theory is that America isn't the real place and it's all
It's
been
not.
made up.
It's a simulation. There's too much wrong with America.
When you look at, most of what happens in Florida, like, have you ever played your birthday game of Florida?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you Google your birthday with the words in
Florida man, and then
Florida
the
man.
date. Yeah.
and the date, and oh man, and let me tell you, mine is the best because my
So we all
birthday,
do it right now, just on
my
the
birthday
podcast. Let's
is
all
the
do it
4th
right
of
now.
July.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
So if I go Florida man, 4th of July, it's just like man kills crocodile alligator and himself with, homemade rockets.
Love that.
Florida.
Remember the Florida cannibal? Remember that was the thing that we all thought like the zombie was actually happening. Like the zombie
because
virus.
there was a particular drug that was like making
bath
everyone act like
salts.
cannibals.
Fucking
The bath salts, and it was like, oh, it's making everyone eat everyone, and it's like, no, it's
Mine is
just
Florida man accused of forcing small alligator to drink beer.
Nice.
That just sounds like an average Sunday
wholesome.
outside a football stadium.
I would do that.
Like that's definitely something that happens in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Regularly.
Redneck fucker from Jacksonville. You go on, Justy. What's yours?
It's giving me pop-ups. Florida man arrested after girl hit with flagpole during street corner pro-Trump rally. That's America.
Yeah,
fucking
like
in a nutshell.
That's America right there.
Flagpole.
Love that.
So if we have any listeners from America,
as most of the world knows,
get triggered by all of this talk.
We do. We just clarified this at the start. Apparently, we have a lot. We're very sorry. We're not sorry. You suck.
Like a lot of this is said in good spirits. I will make fun of Americans, and I will make fun of the English. I will make fun of the English more than I will make fun of the Americans. And we do have a lot of English listeners. I've lived in England for like 11 years now. I have a lot of affection for the English. It's just that the history that's there, when you look at all the kings,
I'd say if I was kidnapped.
it's ripe to make fun of.
Oisin will make fun of Americans, obviously Australians he's just done, and English people. I will make fun of minorities and ethnics. So
Dani makes fun of all men.
All men. I do have to say though, if you are American and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably share our political views. So I don't think you guys have anything to worry about. We're not coming for you specifically.
So in the interest of balance, we will find an Irish person to make fun of in the next few weeks.
Tom Mescal, trash.
No, Enoch Burke. We will make fun of Enoch Burke.
Bono, a pox.
Oh,
the problem with this is Americans who are listening to us make fun of random Irish people like Enoch Burke will be like, who the fuck is Enoch Burke?
Yeah, exactly. He's a fucking nobody.
Don't waste
Don't Google him.
No.
I don't even know who he is really, and he comes up in my feed all the fucking time, and I'm just like, I don't know who that man is. He just stands outside the schools, from what I can see. I don't.
It's a whole
really
mess.
know.
It's a whole mess. He's just like born into a family that is destined to be victims. That is and so speaking of Puritans. So as most of the world knows, there are a great many things wrong with the young nation of America, and I felt it appropriate to start with one of the many colonial beginnings that America has suffered. This week's episode, What is Wrong with America? The Puritans. So the Puritans first landed in America between 1620 and 1640, landing in what would come to be known as Massachusetts. Almost said that wrong there. Specifically at Plymouth Rock. The most famous of these landings was aboard the ship known as the Mayflower. And yes, there is an actual boulder named Plymouth Rock that is said to be the very spot in which these freaks first stepped ashore, the cursed continent of North America. However, said boulder did not receive this honor for another 100 years or so because they just thought, oh, fuck it, let's make an actual Plymouth Rock. This event is the founding moment of the state of Massachusetts and indeed a founding moment for the European colonization of America. These guys formed one of the original 13 colonies. This goes right back to the origin of the settlement of America.
Just to go on to that boulder though,
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
They moved the rock. So they put it where it is. So like it's funny to say, like, even like what is it, 400 years ago, they were no, it would have been 300 years ago, so it was like 100 years after, like you were saying, like they started like broadcast of that, this is the rock, this is Plymouth Rock. So like it's just fascinating to me that like tourism and like, you know, shysterism was happening so early, like where they were like,
snake
come
oil
see
salesman.
the rock.
Yeah. But before we continue, we need context. Who were the Puritans? What is a Puritan? Where did they come from? Where did they get those little outfits from?
Their little kitten heels.
Kitten heels, their little like starch shirts, their silly hats, the whole shebang.
So my favorite thing about the kitten heels is it's actually because the streets were filled with that much human excrement that they needed the little heel on the shoe to stay above, so their
to
feet
stop
didn't get
sinking
any shit.
into shit. That is
Yeah.
true because like
Disgusting.
like England at the time, there was just shit on the streets
everywhere.
Like,
If you go to I don't know if you've been to the London Dungeons
oh yeah, of course.
tour. I loved it. I thought
It's
it was
great.
great.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it is, and the actors are
Yeah,
so much fun.
Fucking
Like,
great.
I was dating a Welsh guy at the time when I went to it, and then like the actor had a fucking field day heckling him when he asked where he was from, and there was a whole like sheep jokes and everything like that. And then he was like, "Oh, and where are you from?" And I was like, "Ireland," and he just skipped me completely. He was like, "Nope."
When I was there,
can't be dealing with your trauma.
Yeah, he's like,
when I was there, there was a scene that was like a courtroom, and the judge was like doing like he was doing crowd interaction work.
That was the one,
and he was going from person to person, and then when he like looks at me and is like, he just like squints me, he's like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Ireland," and he just like fucking knee jerk. He's like, "Guilty, guilty."
Very good. That's
Really
good.
back. And I was just like, "That's very good. That's historically accurate." I love that.
And they love it. The actors love it. But it is a whole the whole theme throughout the entire tour. And if you are in London and you do get a chance to do the tour, you absolutely should. It's a lot of fun. It's really, really good. The theme throughout it is just, and there was feces in the streets. And then we move on to this time and this place and this the king. And there were feces in the streets.
So
and then
much
when
feces.
this happened, and there was a tuberculosis outbreak, and we had to go here, here, and here, and there were feces in the streets.
I love how they at the time they're like referring to Irish people as peasants and stuff like that. As like, Irish people, at least we shit in fields. Like,
we dug holes in a field.
We knew how to dispose of our excrement. We didn't just throw it out our window.
Yeah, they literally were just throwing chamber pots out the windows. Like,
yeah, and that's a whole other little
it's part of the plagues spread through London so badly because it was just like the whole place was just covered in shit.
It's a Monty Python sketch as well that they were doing, and it might be Life of Brian, because I think they did the same, but they were making fun of that. No, it wasn't. It was
the Holy Grail.
Yes, thank you. But it was someone walking through the streets with this big fucking trolley, bring out your dead, bring out your dead, and it was like that back then, literally, because
Yeah, but it was someone's job as well to scoop up that human shit and use it as fertilizer. So that's what they were doing as well. So there was a guy whose job was in every street was just to have a cart like that. Those bring out your dead carts were probably being used for shit before that.
Yeah.
So the answer to all of my questions, as with so many terrible things throughout history, is the English. Did you think that we would do an episode of this show without proving that a terrible thing was English? John Wayne Gacy, who we recently covered, as English a man that has ever existed. Do I need to prove that? How dare you question me?
He does have a bang of Protestant off him, though, I will say.
Oh, he does. Yeah, for sure. He's definitely some weird Presbyterian.
He's very much so Polish Catholic, but I will let you have it.
We don't claim him.
So we cast ourselves back to the 1530s. England, Puritanism was born out of Protestantism, of course, and it was a bunch of religious hardliners who wanted to purify the Church of England by purging the last remaining traces of Catholicism from it. The English and their gripes with Catholics. Now, where have we heard about that elsewhere?
Don't know.
Among their main gripes were priests' clothes. They didn't like the vestments. They wanted priests to wear simpler clothing because, as we all know, Catholic priests and bishops dress like pimps.
Yep.
They didn't like kneeling for communion. They thought that was a little bit, I don't know, too subby or something. And they didn't like making the sign of the cross on oneself, on your body. This is the literal meaning of Puritan. It's the 16th century. You got to entertain yourself somehow.
Yeah, it's funny how this comes about. When this is obviously you're going to get into it. But it all comes down to Henry VIII wanted to ride Anne Boleyn,
a bastard man,
and she didn't want to be a side piece. So she was like, "You need to marry me." So he needed to get his marriage annulled, all this shite. So him who was a staunch Catholic, not only a staunch Catholic, but was actually headed for he was going to be going for like priesthood because he was the second brother. Only for his brother, his older brother Arthur died. He would have been like the Archbishop of fucking Canterbury or whatever it is.
He was the Prince Andrew of his day.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if he was as Nancy, but
I mean, it's actually, a safe bet.
Yeah, now that I come to say it, like they're all nonsense. But yeah, like, so the fact that he couldn't get his marriage annulled, so decided to, like, all this, like, he couldn't have given a fuck about the Reformation, Lutheranism, Calvinism, couldn't give a fuck about any of that. But because he wanted his a son, Catherine of Aragon, not doing the job. So like he wanted to settle in for he wanted to get with Anne Boleyn. He changed his religion and changed the religion of England,
of the whole country,
so that he could get his end away with this Anne Boleyn chick, this French bitch. And it's just funny how, like, what way, like, America would not be the America that we know now. Ireland wouldn't be the Ireland that we know now. England definitely wouldn't be the England that we know now had the Pope of the time just annulled his marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all this kind of happens. So, like, he ends up having Edward was his son, but his son was sick and gay and 15 and he died. And so then, like, this is where we play hot potato with religions in England, and it gets really contentious. So, like, after Edward dies, Mary takes over, his eldest daughter, who's a staunch Catholic, and then wants to reform England back to Catholicism. She gets fucking gone, and Elizabeth comes in. And Elizabeth, being a Protestant, then brings Protestantism back around. And this is when we start seeing, like, Elizabeth being in power is a big deal because, first of all, England is at war with the Spanish. Spanish are after been fucking colonizing South America like crazy. Now, North America, there's people over there killing beavers and fucking, and locals and doing whatever they're doing, skinning and being skinned. Skinning beavers are being skinned by indigenous Americans. And they realize, we need to settle this place. And that's when Elizabeth, like, that would have been in around the 1580s, if I'm right. That she's like, we need to get people in there to start settling. And it's not that easy to get people to convince people to come over as a colony to set. Like, it's easy to get people over if you can say, listen, if you go over there, there's riches beyond your wildest dreams. Like,
the allure of the new world.
Yes. But people were coming back and being like, okay, the fur trade is kind of being taken over. They hadn't really realized what tobacco was yet and how much that was going to be. Like, that could make people rich, but they didn't know yet.
They certainly didn't know about all the gold yet. But
yes,
it was
what I was going to say is it wasn't yielding gold like South America was. Like, gold rushes in America didn't really happen until like the 1800s. So like that would have been like, in California and stuff like that. So, like, it's funny how this, like, all this kind of tumblefuck of events had to happen before we get to what you're going to explain now is the Puritans. But it's all English politics gets us to where we are. And for some reason, the kind of weird way that Protestantism breaks itself up, because Catholicism is so old. There's kind of just one Catholicism. So, like, there isn't a load of. So when people broke off and made Protestantism, which basically is like just it's like the new Coke of Catholicism, you know what I mean? Like, let's put new ingredients into Christianity. But all these different sects start breaking away. Like, there's like Orthodox, fucking Presbyterians, there's like all these different kind of versions of it. But the Puritans, as you've pointed out there, they kind of, again, I don't want to get too into the weeds on this because you've got a whole
but like so what you're talking about is like, it feeds into like my next point. So the reason that I chose the Puritans is because they have several really important characteristics that carry on into modern day that, like, still, like, infect modern Americans. They have Exactly.
Daddies.
Like JD Vance wears heels. Trump
I hate
wears
kitten
heels. Like,
I'm sorry, I hate them.
Tom
He
Cruise
does.
wears
you
heels.
should if you're 5'7".
Well, they're called steps.
Steps. They're heels for men. Give me a break. So they have weaponized religious zealotry, and they practically created the holier than thou trope. They all have chips on their shoulders. They distrust their fellow man, and worst of all, and this is the word that, like, you were making this point. Worst of all, they're the biggest contrarians to come out of Europe until the 1930s, and that's right. I'm comparing them to Nazis.
As you should.
Wow.
And it's
wow.
But like the word contrarians has just been bouncing around my head for the last week.
Yeah.
And it is exactly what it is. They're just complete and utter contrarians. And even when they broke off and they got their way and they formed their own religion, there was still a bunch of them who were just like, actually, we think we can do it better.
Yes, yeah.
And then you get all these different sects.
And as you like said, like, it's very much like a constant victim mentality. Constant, like, that these people have always had.
I think the problem with because, like, I do not like the Catholic Church, just so we're all clear on this. Right?
Hot takes.
Wow. This is the reason why nobody questioned the word of God from the Catholic churches, because when you've got, like, the hoi polloi, the masses, they have to understand scripture through a priest. The Bible was in Latin, and that was it. So you had priests like doing sermons in Latin. Like your religion, right? So we'd sit there, we're Irish, being English bet into us, the English, like Dutch, fucking all these people had to get the word of the Lord to them in Latin. So it's not an accessible, like, your own religion wasn't as accessible to you because it's being dictated to you in a way. Like, I can't just grab a Bible and read it. Now, when Calvin and Martin Luther, they went, everybody should be able to read this. So we want the Bible to be translated into all of our languages. Yeah. That was outlawed in Britain because the Catholic Church were like, no fucking way. The way
it takes away the level of control.
Yeah, we're adding to this ourselves.
The hierarchy
we don't want anyone else to interpret it. Yeah,
exactly. But they were kind of right, because what then happens when some dude smuggles in an English Bible into England from Germany, which is weird as fuck, but they translated it in Germany, brought it to England, and then this is around the time as well that the printing press was just like getting started. So, like, they're now mass producing copies of books. So when the Bible started getting mass produced in English, it was really subversive. So people were able to sit down and read this and interpret it their own way. It wasn't just being dictated to them. So that's why you get so many different kind of sects of Protestantism, because you've got a bunch of people interpreting it one way or the other. Now, the Puritans, they sat down and interpreted it in a way that was the strictest and most staunchest way that they could possibly do it. And they were rigid with the rules of what they thought the word of God was. That was just how we got here to Puritans, I suppose. That's my kind of understanding of how it would have worked.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the Puritans were one of the main causes of the English Civil War through their zealotry. So again, context is king, and this story features many English kings and queens, but I have compacted it down just to the main players. A lot of it started with King Charles I, but much like most bad things in history involving the English, bad things that happen in England can often be attributed to the biggest sack of shit king they had, King Henry VIII. This fucking guy.
We again could do, like, we're going to do multiple parts on what the fuck is wrong with America. We could do multiple parts on Henry VIII because...
Oh, we should do an episode on Henry VIII. Did you know that? So with the line of kings in England, there's, like, you know, there's loads of Henrys, there's a couple of Charles, there's like, you know,
you have to pick a name.
Their names. There is one King Stephen.
King Steve.
And he was known as, like, King Stephen the Coward or something like that.
Steve.
Yeah, he was shit. He was shit.
Steve the Coward.
And anytime I see him mentioned, I'm just like, King Steve.
Come on, having like King Robbie,
King Ted,
King Jono.
It's like, do you remember? It's like the John Goodman movie King Ralph.
Yeah.
Where it turns out that where it turns out he's the heir to the
that's
throne.
such a good movie.
I can see
Talk about that
Ralph.
in years.
I watched it a couple of
More
months
than
ago.
Steve.
It is awesome. It's great. I love John Goodman.
Yeah, I love John Goodman. John Goodman in Old Brother Where Art Thou I just want to give him that one. That's his best.
Oh no,
Oh.
John, if you haven't watched, have you watched Righteous Gemstones?
Oh, the Righteous Gemstones.
No, I haven't watched the Righteous Gemstones yet.
Justy,
You keep
please.
telling me, yes.
Oisin's finished. I know, but he's
I've just
so
finished the
good.
whole thing. It's
No, I
fantastic.
do. I really want to watch it because like all my favorite people are in it. Like, but
Yeah.
So John Goodman is the straight man of the show.
Yeah.
But like he does do like some ridiculous stuff and he has a bit of fun. But he's the straight guy, and his kids are fucking insane.
I've seen clips and stuff.
Everyone else is insane. Yeah,
but you
it's
have
brilliant.
to go through like the fact that like Dani McBride is the second most sane in the show. That'll tell you everything that you need to know.
Yeah.
He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then you go like it goes like back to the heritage and how they actually became like heavy Christians and stuff. And it's really fucking good. It's such a good show.
I just love the accents, like the way they're all like, Daddy.
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 Off to tell Daddy. It's like
Daddy.
Off to tell Daddy. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna move to California and shave my pussy. It's like, why do you want to shave your pussy for? So I can surf faster, Jesse.
It's
the best. It's such
just
a good
watch
show.
it. It's excellent.
And like you've got like I am like a Walton Goggins super fan anyway. Like I've loved him from fucking the Sons of Anarchy days when no one knew who he was.
His dick out,
him in the Shield is fantastic. Like he's so good in the Shield. That's how he obviously was in with Kurt Sutter to get to do Sons of Anarchy. So like he's so good.
First thing that he did that he broke in was fucking League of Their Own. He was like the young hotshot baseball player in League of Their Own. He was like 21.
For some reason, I thought of the
Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah, he's in that.
I didn't see that. No, I
there's no crying in baseball.
But he's like the young hotshot. He's like really young in it, and then like obviously it comes out. Then like I think the next thing I saw him in was Sons of Anarchy when he was Venus Van Dam. Yeah. Incredible as Venus Van Dam. It's like, didn't your daddy ever tell you not to judge a book by its penis?
Venus Van Dam.
He has like the tits and everything. Like, and then like Tig is like this like fucking big horny bastard character in the show, and he's obsessed with her.
Who are you explaining this to, Dan?
Oisin hasn't seen Sons of Anarchy.
You haven't seen Sons of Anarchy?
No, never watched it. Well, I don't like Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I can see that. But but he's so fucking good. And then like he did audition for Eastbound and Down in the whole Dani McBride universe, and then Dani McBride was like, "Oh no, not for Eastbound and Down, but I have something else in the works that I need you for." So we had him for Vice Principals, which Oisin, I think I told
have
you
to
to
watch
put that on your
next.
list.
Yeah.
Very good.
Incredible show, so fucking funny. And then brought him back for fucking Baby Billy, Uncle Baby Billy. And my favorite thing about him is that they all refer to him as Uncle Baby Billy. It's not like Uncle Billy, it's all Uncle Baby Billy. And it's like
Uncle Baby Billy.
Uncle Baby Billy. And then he has his own show. It's like Uncle Baby. It's like Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers. He's like Baby Billy. Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers.
So the too long didn't read section of this section of history is this.
Is Walton Goggins is the best.
Walter Goggins should play Henry VIII.
He could. But the funny thing is, like, people see Henry VIII as like this big fat mess, but like for most of his life he was a tall, very attractive, athletic man, but he got hurt in a jousting incident. Like a lot of you can go back to like you've seen Game of Thrones, Oisin, yeah? So like they kind of base King Robert on Henry VIII when like
on Henry VIII.
So when he gets fat, like, and then they do this.
Yeah. And they do the things like, you've gotten fat.
Yes. So like, but the thing with Henry is that he got injured in a jousting incident, which he shouldn't. Like, why a king is jousting? But like, we've seen this obviously in Game of Thrones as well when he was trying to. He still wanted to be jousting as the king, and everybody
still wanted to be that guy. Yeah,
but that's what happened. He ended up. The guy hit him in the face while he had his visor up. And he took so he fell off his horse, gashed his leg, like took proper like damage. But ever since then, now he was already in the middle, like he was already after doing all his swapping religions and beheading a couple of wives, like, but his temperament changed completely once he got that head injury, and that's been
The
kind
old
of
brain
So he
damage.
starts getting really fucking shitty, like, and his memory starts going and stuff, like. So he's had like there was incidences where, because like he wasn't able to, the gash on his leg was an old wound, but he reopened it and it never healed, and he wasn't able to get up.
Oof.
So he went from like having a 36-inch waist to having like a 54-inch waist, I think they said.
That's just
yeah, so like then
huge, dude.
he went from being this really athletic man who was still like riding in tournaments and stuff like that
in his prime.
Yeah, and then to having his arse wiped because he was after getting so fat.
To basically being like, he was basically disabled.
He actually had there was a title for them, but I think they were called like Lords of the Stool.
Royal Wipers.
Yeah, there were people who were employed, and apparently this was like a big fucking job to be employed as like a Lord of the Stool, which is basically your job was to just help him wipe his arse, because he was that big that he couldn't do it himself. He couldn't like literally
just
wipe properly.
Just the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Like fuck.
It was Lord of the Stool, or was Page of the, it was something, one like fucking thing.
Probably Lord.
Yeah, but it was basically like if you were in Catholic Ireland and your mother was like, oh, he works for the church, fucking delighted. It would be that level of like your family was better than everyone else because your son wiped
the arse of a king.
Wiped the basically.
So to really, really summarize and reduce a large section of history, it is Henry couldn't sire a male heir, so he murdered some wives, and he had the bright idea to create a type of Protestantism called the Church of England. And the English Civil War was a war fought between various factions of English Puritans. Henry is the most famous English king, had 6 wives, murdered 2 of them via beheading. Fat sack of shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And there's a musical.
So that sums up like so much history. Pretty
much. But Oisin, you're probably aware of it because you like your musicals. But there's one called, I think it's called
6.
Yeah, 6, and it's basically got all the wives of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Fantastic, really, really good, very funny. And it's really good. But yeah, there's so much shit that this man did that like baffles me, because it's like, I get power is like a whole thing, but there was nothing attractive about this man. There never was at any fucking point. Like,
well, no, like when he was young, like, he was that kind of like big, burly, beastly man, like,
like
symbol
John Wayne Gacy.
No, he wasn't a big. He wasn't a big
little bitch.
No, he was a big athletic man until he got knocked
big athletic.
Off
like
horse.
he was a big like masculine.
He was the kind of guy that you would fuck back in the fucking 1500s, and that's genuinely it is, because he was a big, tall, muscly guy who was good at the sport at the time, and. Yeah. You would have been like, oh, yes, sir, I will be your your fucking Duchess of the Dookie, or whatever the fuck it is that you were talking about.
You probably would have come up with some weird nickname for like when you go to watch the jousts, like the way women call ice hockey the boy aquarium.
Oh, yeah.
I hate
like
that
you would
term.
have come up with some. I think it's really fun.
It's
considering, there's worse things that men talk about with women's sports. So a boy aquarium is actually like.
See that article in the Financial Times though about hockey?
No.
Yeah, so she went to like a hockey game. I think it was like a Nottingham Panthers game, basically just to be like, and I could tell that he wanted me. He was staring at me from behind the glass. She was talking about like Mitch Fossier, who was like the nicest man in the world. And then it was just basically like, this is what the obsession is with like hockey players, and like any pretty girl can go and push themselves up against a glass and then they want to fuck them. She was just basically like saying,
she was just being an asshole about it,
being like, oh, the only reason that it's popular now is because of these novels like Heated Rivalry and Icebreaker and blah blah blah.
And that's cool. Like, if they've made a sport more
but women
popular,
have been going to hockey for fucking forever, and then like it's just like it's this whole thing that comes out, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's popular now because of this and this, whereas like someone who clearly has never been to a hockey game before goes.
Don't gatekeep. That's like me being
I'm
like,
not. No, I'm not.
You're
I'm
only
basically
you're only going to wrestling shows now because it's popular.
I'm just basically saying like she thinks it's a point that like women who have been going for fucking ever have only just started going. Like, she doesn't know that it has been an all fucking. Everybody goes to hockey games because it's so much fun. And it's just the fact that like she's going to prove a point that it's because of these books. It's like, well, no, you were never here before, so you don't know that these people always went. Like,
if the books help the popularity, that's a good thing, because like ice hockey in like the UK and Ireland and Europe is like a D tier sport, and if a couple of books and a TV show have created more fans, that's fucking
there's a rink
great. Like
in
I went to
Cherrywood
see
now though opening up, so there's a talk of like a Dublin EIHL team, which is huge.
But like I went to see my local team play recently, and it was the first sold out match that
and like I think the atmosphere of a sold out hockey game is so much fun. It's great. It's a great night out.
The club has a women's team, and the women's games are setting new records for attendance. Like, this is fantastic.
Like, if you've never been to one, like, it's even if you're not into the sport, it's a good night out. It's a lot of fun to go have a few beers
and hot dogs, baby.
It. Like, just fucking watch a few chaps dig each other's head in on the ice.
Just watch a very graceful sport played by men who can't read.
Very good.
Yeah.
that is true.
I
definitely
true. Want to check one out one of these days.
If you come over and visit, we'll all go to a game.
Speaking of Czech.
Oh.
Peter Cech, Champions League winner, Premier League winner. Yeah. He is the goalkeeper of my local team.
He just bops around. Anyone who'll have him,
he doesn't give a fuck.
Play.
Yeah. He just he loves the game. That's what it is. He lives for the game.
He's so funny.
Okay, so another common thread of the Puritans, and indeed America since its colonization, is a sense of victimhood. The Puritans felt like they were being persecuted, and in some cases they actually were, but they're very fucking annoying, and they deserved it. So they wanted to go to a land where they would be free of fat wife-murdering assholes. So they went to the Netherlands, but that didn't work.
I
love the Dutch thing as well, because like the Dutch and the English had this kind of tense kind of alliance, because obviously they were both at war with the Spanish, and the Spanish Armada was a big thing at the time. Like, so they were like fucking everybody up. Kind of the reason why England is so famous for the Navy now is because they had to build ships to fight off the Spanish Armada.
To go after the Spanish,
But it's funny with the Dutch thing. Obviously, the Dutch and the Brits, they're all like, we know New York was first called New Amsterdam. So like the Dutch were over there, like colonizing as well. But the Puritans went over to the Netherlands, who is a Protestant state. And they were like, yes, they'll take us in. And they were like, the Dutch, if you think about the city of Amsterdam and what it's been famous for hundreds of years, the Puritans land over there and they're like, yes, we'll go over to this Protestant nation. And then if you land in Amsterdam, it's this, it's an unholy place, which doesn't like, if you want,
it's a den of iniquity.
But its whole thing is like, if you want religion, go practice it. But religion isn't the state, especially not in Amsterdam. So you went to this place that is like booze, drugs, prostitution, and anything illicit you can think of. The Puritans land here and they're like, we've made a mistake.
We've made a terrible mistake.
Like, and it's funny because the Puritans then were like, okay, where else do we go? And they thought about colonizing Ireland. Like, well, like not colonizing, but like going to Ireland and
taking a swatch of Ireland for themselves.
And then they figured out that probably not going to happen, because it's hard enough to compete with like the Catholics, but like the Protestants that are going over there, you're going to have to compete with the Protestants that you don't agree with to get some land from Ireland, and you're not going to be given that land anyways, because the King of England at the time, well, let's say like Elizabeth, then it comes down to Edward. Like, but they're basically running you out of England. Like, well, they are persecuted, I suppose, but like, you've disagreed with the king so much that he's been like, get the fuck out of my sight. Like,
but like, it's a persecution because they picked the fucking fight.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and then they were like, oh, we're the victim. Again, this is like a common thread that like English exists up to modern day. They pick a fight, and then when people fight back, they're like, we're being oppressed.
Help, boys.
It's like there's a big sign that says like, do not wear blue in this area. And then they wore blue, walked in, and went, why is everybody picking on us?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like the rules of the land.
We can't wear blue.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that woman, have you seen the shit now with the Grammys? So Billie Eilish won best album or whatever the fuck she won. I don't care. I'm mad at it because I wanted it to be Sabrina Carpenter, but whatever. So she won, and in her acceptance speech, she basically said "fuck ICE," like word for word, right?
Goddamn right.
And then there was this influencer. Now I've never heard of her before, but she is a MAGA fucking whoever the fuck, because the Grammys just invite random fucking influencers these days. A lot of award shows are doing
Anything
this.
to get clicks. Yeah.
So she went Emily Austin, I think her name is. I don't know, like whatever. But she based Emily Blunt is an angel. But she went and she did this thing, right? And so she was like filming herself during Billie Eilish's acceptance speech. So she obviously knew what was coming. She knew fucking Billie Eilish, outspoken liberal, like, do you know what I mean? Like she's gonna say something.
Yeah.
So she was like, she basically like accepted the award, gave the whole speech, and then as she was walking off, held it up and she was like, "Fuck ICE," and then like left. And she's like, "Oh, fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. I'm so edgy and cool." And like her and her friend were just like, "Oh." And her friend was just like, "We love America." And she was just like, "Yeah, we love our law enforcement." Like did this. And then everyone was just like, she posted it and she was like, "Oh, Billie Eilish. So you recently," she's like, "I don't know a lot about Billie Eilish. I don't know about y'all."
They always do this. They always do that as well. Like, I've never heard of Billie Eilish before she said this, but yeah.
I don't know. Who is
was
this
like,
guy?
"I don't like, but a quick Google search will tell you that a random man like broke into her house last year and she called 911. Billie, so you called 911 and you're saying that you fuck ICE."
God,
and then like
fucking
every
people.
comment was ICE aren't cops.
Yeah.
ICE aren't cops.
Yeah,
and then she was like, "I just wouldn't speak on something that
Gestapo.
I'm not educated on." So, and then everyone was like, "Take your own advice because ICE aren't cops." And then I left a comment.
Or she
Oh dear.
I'm not proud of, but it went viral.
This is
of course.
What's Dani's viral comment this week? Like, this is becoming one of those things that Dani's like, guys.
It's usually just picking a fight with some like idiot.
Thinking and it goes viral. Like my favorite one was basically just this guy was swimming, diving, didn't know a blue whale was behind him, and then he freaked out. And then my comment was just like, "Whale is just like, excuse me, sorry." And like that got like thousands of likes and like hundreds and thousands. I'm like, that's fine. But this right? And I don't know why I said it. I don't know why I said it. Because like she has thousands of like Republican women followers, and Republican women, right? And she was.
I know them in Ireland.
Sure.
Big fan of them in Ireland.
She was a gorgeous woman, but clearly had a lot of work done. And my comment was, "I just don't see how you, a trans woman, has these political views." And everyone
I'm sure she was very happy with that.
Everyone was like, I think it has like, last time I checked, 150,000 likes within 3 hours of posting it. Haven't checked it again. She's probably blocked me, but like, yeah, I was just like, that was just my first thing. And then I was like, is this rude to post? I don't care. I was like, I don't see how you, a trans woman, can have like I mean, objectively gorgeous woman, but who's clearly had work.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, the one thing that they don't want to hear.
But I'm just like,
yeah, especially because they're all so obsessed with like getting plastic surgery to look a certain way, to like look ridiculous. Super feminine, but then they end up looking like a melted welly.
And it's like, and there's the whole there's a trend of like Republican makeup,
the MAGA face.
It's this thing. Yeah. It's the eyeliner all the way around the eye, the fucking clumpy mascara, the lip too pale for your face. It's like, it's a
drag
yes,
makeup.
legit.
It's drag
Actually,
makeup.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. All of the comments that I've seen on other videos about this woman are like, who the fuck is this person? Like, nobody knows who she was. And there's like,
I'll tell you what she is, a contrarian. And that's the word. That's the word that's been going around my head.
You've been loving that word.
You do love that word.
Yeah, man. I've been like, it's all I can think about.
Have you been diagnosed with anything?
Self-diagnosed?
No, just because it's a very it's very ADHD. And again, this is one of those things that shit. Hold on. I forgot I had to flagellate myself. But it is a very ADHD thing.
It is. You get like obsessed on things.
Yeah, so like when one word gets into your Dani, first of all, you also don't have a fucking ADHD diagnosis. So I will be. When did you get diagnosed?
2017.
I thought you were just an autistic.
No, why would I not say I am autistic? And I got my ADHD diagnosis in 2017. When I moved here, I had my autism diagnosis in 2013.
Anyways, it doesn't count because it doesn't settle in women the same way. But anyways, so with
I'm kind of like self-diagnosed.
Yeah, well,
I think I'm like a little bit on the spectrum.
It's one of those things that what happens when you get diagnosed is that you can now diagnose other people. It's basically it's a zombie virus.
I diagnose so many people with ADHD.
When I hear you saying that you have the word contrary in your head and it's rattling around your head, there's this real cyclical thing that sometimes like you get a thought in your head. Me and Dani have talked about it before, like where you just get like it could be like just a vocal stim, like just something like a line from a movie, a song, something like that, and it just stays with you for the week, like. And like like dental plan, leasing these braces, you could be doing that for 2 weeks, like you could be like, and it gets. But it happens to me as well with like random words as well, where like will stick in my head, and like that. That sounds like go get yourself checked out. Although don't, because you don't get it. I will for it. Like you just get to say you have it.
Yeah, like because the self-diagnosis with like being on the spectrum was like I was trying to like.
Oh, you are.
I was like frustrated. I was frustrated with like a situation that I was in. Like I was living with a work colleague, and I was really frustrated with it. And it reminded me of a lot of stuff from when I was younger and how I reacted and how I emotionally reacted to it. And then I just like was thinking about it. And then I was reading about like autism.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine is a social care worker who specializes with autistic kids. So I called her just out of the blue, and I was like, "Hey, so I think I could be on the spectrum. Like, do you have some time to talk about this?" And so we talked about it for a few hours, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like you meet a bunch of criteria, but like, there's nothing wrong with that." And I was like, no. Like, I'm trying to like understand myself and how
your brain works.
I interact with situations that I find myself in, and I want to be better. Like, I'm doing this as a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if I had like a touch of the ADHD as well.
Like my friend Ree, so she's also into like her witchcraft and things like that. And believe it or not, I'm the normal one in this, because she's very much just like, I've had this term in my head like all week, and I've seen it on videos and things like that. And it just, I think it was something like a freezer burn, I think she had. And she saw a bunch of videos that had,
the freezer burn was the thing that you kept cropping up for you then.
Yeah. And she was talking about this. So I had mentioned like, I had like freezer burn in my head, whatever. And she was going on. She's like, "Oh, this happened, this happened, this happened." I was like, "Rhiannon, like, sometimes you're just autistic. Like sometimes like not everything is a fucking sign. You just have pattern recognition, which is a huge fucking thing when it comes to ADHD and autism." Like, and she's like I guess you could say Wicca. So she's like rule of 3, everything means something. But I'm like, no, not everything means something.
Rule of 3 because she's a Wicca. No, rule of 3 because she's got fucking OCD.
Autism, legit. Like it's like, oh, whatever you do will come back on you. Whatever. It's like that's all. It's all.
And
fucking...
Dani's just like a nihilistic witch, where she's like, nothing matters.
I don't care. I'm just like literally like there's like if I'll send you a picture of the bottom shelf in my freezer after this. I don't give a fuck about anything.
I know the horrors that exist in your fridge.
I don't want that euphemism to look at the bottom jar of my fridge.
So Reese basically like, everything means something, and just basically like just everything means something. Everything has more meaning than it does. And then it's like, I was thinking about this person, and they popped up in my Instagram story views, and I'm just like, that doesn't mean anything. That just basically means someone was just fucking going through their Instagram and was like, you came up or something like that. And I was like, I think you might have schizophrenia. And like coming from me to say that to somebody, she was just like, yeah, maybe.
Daddy just diagnosed everybody.
Speaking of someone who hears voices or heard voices.
Oh, here we go.
America.
Nice.
Love that. There we go. Awesome.
America had been found in inverted commas.
Actually, it's found
by a grade A piece of shit, Christopher Columbus, a mere 40 or so years before the Puritans first set sail to those new shores. So they thought, what better place to start afresh and build a utopia based on a purer form of Christianity than the New World? It is also worth noting that Columbus first arrived in the Bahamas as they're known today, and was preceded in terms of European visitation by Leif Erikson, which, as we know, was preceded by Saint Brendan of Ireland. We fucking did it first.
Please refer back.
We fucking love that shit, man.
Like our Saint Brendan,
as we did on last week's episode.
Yeah. So to anyone who's like listening to this, being like, let's listen to this American podcast. we did a podcast just last week on St. Brendan or Brendan the Voyager, and I would implore you to go back and listen to that because we make some very good arguments that he founded America. Okay.
And the majority of our listeners are American, so they'll know.
They will not know. They just know Christopher Columbus came over and they did some really shitty stuff. And they didn't even know about the shitty stuff until about 20 years ago.
If even Christopher Columbus, like, let's not give him too much credit, but okay, yeah.
Like, yeah, they had, like, you know, Columbus Day, which they eventually stopped celebrating. And now Donald Trump is talking about...
Trump Day.
He's talking about putting up a statue of Christopher Columbus on the White House lawn just as a troll.
He's a fucking contrarian.
Just as a troll.
He is. Like,
exactly.
He's the one.
You see?
Yeah,
you see?
I get it. The word is right. But, like, it's... he's... Like, contrarian is just another word for edgelord, really. Like, and that's what, like, these...
Yes,
but that's
absolutely.
That's what Trump is basically. And again, I don't want to go too into the weeds with Trump because we're getting there. This is the long road to how Trump fucked America.
It is the long road to Trump.
We're kind of like, we're starting at the very start. But if you look at all these people in America, like these guys, and what America really
the
is,
whole building blocks.
It's guys who are like, oh, is this what you believe? Well, we're the opposite. And then they do fucking the stupidest, most horrible stuff to kind of throw it in people's faces. It kind of just seems like it's been the American way since before America was even a country.
Before it was called America, it has been the American way. Yeah. So I digress, as we tend to do on this podcast, back to the 17th century. So the Puritans arrived and built themselves a new colony, and each subsequent wave of arrivals built, each seemingly bringing different variations of Puritanism and its interpretations. They believed in a social hierarchy based around first generation, second generation arrivals, and so on. So they would base people's ability to vote based on who arrived first and who arrived last. So the original colonizers, their vote counted more than the most recent ones. So their colony, as I mentioned earlier, was one of 13 original colonies that were all based on the eastern seaboard of America that reached as far inland as just beyond the Appalachian Mountains, one of Dani's favorite places. A population which was estimated to be around 3 million by the time the American Revolution arrived in 1775. Beyond those mountains lay the Native Americans in their largest numbers. They were on the land that the colonies were built on, and we all know what happened when Europeans discover other people's countries. Murder, theft, death, pestilence.
So again, Appalachia being like my favorite
I
topic.
knew you couldn't have mentioned Appalachia without she has to go on.
As I was writing this, I was like, here we go.
There's actually like a large thing going on now where the mountain folk in Appalachia who don't have I mean, they're that rural that they don't have like birth certificates or
ears.
They're not included in the census, anything like that. They're basically just so off the grid. They have been coming forward now. Yeah, legit, like have been coming forward now to take in immigrants and hide them.
As slaves, or
that's the opposite of what I was expecting you to say.
Just hide them, just to basically like we will take them in and help them and just keep them out of the fucking radar if they're already in the area and they have been in the radar in the area and they don't have the documentation. These people have never had documentation, but they've been born in these mountains, and they've basically and
they're all called William.
Fucking whatever. But they've all basically come forward to locals of their villages. They've come down and been like, look, if there's anyone that needs help, we can help. Just bring them up. Here are the coordinates. Bringing them to random spots in the forest, not exactly to their places of residence, but to points where they can come and get them after they've been dropped off.
Huh.
And that's been a huge thing. Yeah, there's been
that's kind of amazing.
A lot of people who've posted about it and stuff on like X and on
call it Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter. Yeah, sorry, I just whatever. So like and like TikTok and stuff, and like there's been a bunch. So there was one woman who she kind of made it go viral. Who is she teaches like folklore and something else in a college
like American folklore.
Yeah, like she basically American history folklore, but towards that end of American history, not essentially like the politics of it, just the whatever. So she's come forward and she's basically been like dropping these coordinates just really skeptically and like that's not the word I'm looking for. Cryptically, sorry.
Yeah.
Just dropping these coordinates, whatever, and these people who live in these very, very remote villages which don't have law enforcement, don't have anything, they just have a community. They're basically being like, if you are struggling, if you are in trouble, if you need fucking help, here, go to this coordinate. They won't find you. They won't find your children. They won't, any of this. Just come and we'll help you. And it's basically the fucking mountain folk who've never been
That's cool.
in the census, anything like that, have been able to
I'd be
come
very sketchy
and lead
about
these
what those
people.
people are doing, to be honest with you. 100%.
Yeah, like what's
the end goal?
the thing is there is a
I know, but like that's
yeah,
the
like
thing.
there's part of me just thinking
people.
yeah, they're
No,
eating
I
those
don't
people.
think they'd go to that
Yeah.
point though of actively giving the coordinates.
Yeah, but
Because
they're drop off points.
yeah,
They're
but
not
if
the
it's a
actual
drop off point, it's
It's
still,
close enough.
Yeah, it's easy that they would still be in like traveling distance, walking distance to get to where
Trafficking
these
distance,
people
what it
are.
sounds like.
Oh,
trafficking
stop.
distance, exactly. Yeah.
Let me just believe in the good for once
Okay,
in America.
can I get into, just before I forget mine, what I was going to say here, and mine is actually about the pilgrims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all
Yes.
right? Danny, I don't want to cut you off there, but it's like, is that...
No.
Is-
I
are
just
we
mean
done on
like
that one?
it's no, we're done. I just mean like that. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to add to that, but I just mean
Yeah.
it is a really interesting point.
Yeah, no,
that
I actually I wouldn't mind like
Yeah.
looking that up and seeing what they are actually doing with those people.
Oh, same. Yeah, I want to see what's actually going
Yeah.
on
But
there.
for me, right, so what I wanted to do, just again, hold on, riddled with ADHD, so I need to get this out of my system before. So like the idea of this, like when they landed in New England, is like, so like what was happening with these, for want of a better word, plantations. There wasn't a lot of English people that were like, okay, we want to go over to the New World now, because it wasn't as if like at this point it wasn't like you were going to get your fortune or whatever like that. The idea was
No.
you were going over there to colonize, and it was going to be tough. But
Yeah.
they've heard of like the only places that that the English have really colonized. Actually, another very fascinating thing is, for me, I don't know if this is going to be fascinating at all, but one of the colonies that they were actually, one of the places that they were looking at colonizing these Puritans was French Guyana, which is beside Venezuela now, which I think is another really interesting one, that like the world would have been a completely different fucking place if
Yeah.
like a bunch of fucking English Puritans landed in South America there, like, or is that South America, or would that be Central America?
South, I think.
It's the top of South America.
It's like lower Central
Is
America.
it Guyana? Is that where that is? Oh yeah. Bolivia,
Yeah.
down, all them guys are all down, clustered in it. Yeah. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, I just thought that was a fascinating thing, that like they were looking at places like they thought Ireland wasn't going to be a thing. So like they said, let's go over to England, and now they were already on the outs with Edward, who was after.
I thought Ireland, they're just like, don't even bother.
Yeah, I think it was like there was going to be too much hassle, and they were going to be too close to England, where they were going to be under the persecution of Edward the King.
Yeah, because eventually England would have. They knew that England was like looking at Ireland, going, "Yeah, that's ours
so,
too."
Like, well, it was like the King of England was the king. Like Edward at the time, I think, was the king of. His title was the King of England, France, and Ireland. I think like he was like, So he was the main deal over there. So what Elizabeth had started in now Elizabeth, an absolute cunt, but like her and her buddy Walter Raleigh, as us Irish people would not be a big fan of. But he was like over there scoping out, and like, well, he didn't even go over at that stage, but he was in charge of like the guys heading over there and colonizing America. Even though he hadn't gone over there yet, like the likes of John Smith and stuff had gone over there, and they established Jamestown. But the story's coming back. Like, now here, like, I don't want to get too fucking down the rabbit hole of Roanoke, but Roanoke was a settlement.
Oh my god, I have a bunch of notes to do an episode on that.
So Roanoke is a settlement in North Carolina that everybody kind of vanished. Now again, it's supposed to be this mystery. I don't want to do the spoiler on it yet, like of what I believe it is or anything like that. But like what had happened was people went over, some shit went down. Like they were friendly with the locals. One guy kind of was a little bit uppity, and fucking a silver cup went missing. So he went and blamed a bunch of the locals, and he was like, "Give me back my fucking silver cup." And they were like, what is ownership? What is a silver cup? What do you want? Like, fuck off. And so he created a bit of tension between these locals and then the people. The guy that I think John White, whitest name ever.
Back,
yeah, he traveled back. He ended up getting fucking mixed up in this Spanish War, and then got kind of stuck in England for 3 years. And by the time he came back, the settlement was gone.
Everything was gone.
Yeah,
like no trace of anyone. Nothing.
Well, they left some carvings on trees.
On the trees,
to like the name of the local tribe that they thought they were kind of friendly with and stuff like that. Like, and there was kind of a bunch of clues what had happened, but like the place was taken apart. It wasn't as if it was destroyed and burnt or anything like that. The houses that
no
were
bodies or like bones, nothing like that. Stuff, it was like everyone just disappeared.
Yeah, so the like even the cabins and stuff that they had put up were dismantled and taken away. It wasn't like so.
Yeah, it wasn't burnt down.
There was a bunch of like, again, I'm after getting as far as I got into the weeds with fucking Henry VIII. I got so deep in with Roanoke as well.
It's all the same umbrella. It's fine.
But with Roanoke, what had happened now, word was getting back that this place, you can't settle it because
it's too wild.
The land is cursed.
The animals will fuck you up.
Yeah.
The land will fuck you up, and the natives will fuck you up. And it's the funny thing because they do kind of paint like with the English, they are cunts for they basically will demonize the locals. Like they done it with Ireland, where they actually use phrenology to say like that Irish people
savages
were dumber.
And fucking
like this, they were using like this the forceps on the head and be like, look at the size of this big ignorant Irish head.
That's just a big fat Irish head. Like, that's just how we're built.
And I say this all the time, right? And people say this to me, like my English or fucking like whoever friends think that big thick Irish head is offensive. It's not.
That's a biological thing.
And I've left this comment on a bunch of TikTok videos, and I'll have people be like, "Wow, okay, oh my god, like how is this comment?"
Big
not
Irish head in
and then like the actual fucking Irish person whose video it is that I've commented on have been like, "Yes, girl,
that's right,
like
that's correct."
Like, come give me a fucking hug. But yeah, big thick Irish head is a fucking thing.
But the English actually would have demonized us, saying that we were closer to animals like than they were because we had this big ignorant head, and we
were less evolved.
Exactly. They used to put out pictures in their local newspapers of us looking like monkeys,
where we look like wolfmen or like half apes.
Exactly. And they've done the same with the Africans, obviously. And now that we're getting over to America, what they've done now is they call these natives the savages. And don't get me wrong, the further west you go, the more hostile the people were. But on the coast, the east coast of America, they actually got a lot of cooperation with these locals, and that's what happened in Roanoke. They actually did, like with the local. I fucking forget the name of it. Like there's a lot of names of a lot of tribes over there. But the local tribes they were actually working with at the start until the guy kind of made it, like the English kind of made it hostile. You know what I mean? And then it was the same in Jamestown. Which was the most successful kind of plantation at the time, before the Pilgrims or before the Puritans made their way over. They had also kind of had a really good kind of, like that was in Virginia, so like it was named after Elizabeth for the Virgin Queen. So it was I think Jamestown's in Virginia, So
also a banger of a song by the Movie Life, but
yes, but they had, like, again, the locals and the English actually had, like, they were cooperating and they were working together, and the locals were actually showing them how to, like, plant the likes of maize.
How to survive in the land.
Exactly, And they were showing them, like, what actually getting into, like, how to fertilize the land, because this land is kind of different. So they went out they caught fish, and they as they opened the fish guts, and they put the fish guts in with the seeds, and then that was to fertilize the seeds. And like the people are actually like they were surviving on the goodwill of the locals, but going back home they were calling them savages because, like, you know, like these people, they were uncouth and they weren't English, and they weren't you know, they were wearing loincloths and stuff. So by the time it came around to Plymouth, and to actually like getting colonizers to go over there and to actually create a kind of a colony. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word.
A utopia of horrible British people.
Yeah, but it was pretty tough to get these people. So when the Puritans, like, who are kind of like, oh, fucking the Netherlands are too Netherlands for us. So they were like, they went to the king, who, by the way, didn't like them.
No.
But he was like, okay, well, we do need people over there, English people over there.
Yeah.
So the Puritans got on to I don't know if you get into it, but with the Mayflower. And so they jump in there. And again, people think that the Pilgrims or the Puritans are just all Mayflower, but there were only probably about a third of the people there. And there was a lot of contention even on the boat. I think there was like an 8-year-old kid who nearly blew up the Mayflower because he was playing with a gun and he shot a fucking a keg of gunpowder on the fucking boat.
Which, so why are you letting your kid play with a fucking gun? But whatever, English people are stupid.
And that is the story of America.
Yeah.
Like, it even
that is literally fucking end the podcast, end of the episode, we're done.
But that's
that
exactly
started with the fucking Puritans.
Yeah.
So this has been Hocus Pocus, Lack of Focus.
No, but that's that I just wanted to get into like how the Puritans ended up like this. Fuck again, another clusterfuck of events is after happening that gets the Puritans over there. And when they land, Europeans have already been over there, and in Massachusetts, it was a what's the name of it?
Punxsutawney?
Yeah. Pox, yes, something.
We're probably wrong on that, but
like, it's white Pawtucket is called Pawtucket now, So, but it's Pox is something, whatever. And I'm sorry to any Native Americans listening to this, which I doubt you are.
We actually have two, but we do actually have two that I know.
Irish people.
Oh, I forgot. They're probably people that she's writing.
He's like, literally, I'm writing him for Reverse Cowgirl, and he's like, do yourself a favor, don't turn around.
Oh, good God.
We've been. Sorry, that was
won't be the first Indian who was.
That was the funniest. I know she's like, oh,
it was good.
You want to laugh?
I'm so disappointed
like,
in you.
I can't, but I go on. Anyway.
Right. So these natives were decimated by, as Oisin's notes have said, the pestilence. So the Europeans brought diseases over there. The guys there was like basically a plague ran rampant through the locals, and there was only a few of them left. So when like the Mayflower headed over and fucking a couple of hundred people got off this boat, the locals were like, it's better that we actually work with these guys than get in trouble with them, because what's happening on the west of the locals as well, they're at war with these other like tribes. So they actually got in and, as I said, helped the locals, started showing them how to work the land, how to like survive basically. And up at that stage, I think they arrived in the winter was coming already. Like, so like it was getting,
they were arriving at a tough time.
Yes. So it was going to be fucked up. So when they arrived, the locals really like looked after them, and the Pilgrims didn't, it was needs must. Like the Puritans came over with the, like, we are holier than thou.
And we're going to take over.
Yes. But what had really happened was they're like, okay, now we actually have to bend and allow these locals to show us how to survive in this land that is fucking crazy over there.
And it was a tough pill for them to swallow, because like they saw them as savages, and then they were like relying on them, and they could see that like these like the natives understood the land better than they did, because of course they did.
Yeah, they're
and it was it was a difficult pill for them to swallow, because they were bringing over that like European supremacy with them.
Yeah, jagged little pilgrim. But it was it was fucking, I could not do it. But it was
yeah, I get it.
But that's so that's just, again, not to try and fucking like take over or whatever, because like you've done a lot of work on this. But for me, I like the little nuances of like how the fuck this happened, like how they got there, like this just tumbling of event, like the snowball that kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger and then lands. Okay, America, weird Christian nation, because these guys landed over there and got taken care of by natives that they then more or less
murdered.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
the Puritans, or Pilgrims, as they were also known, spread far and wide in what would go on to become New England. Approximately 13,000 pilgrims, or Puritans, made the journey in the hope of escaping persecution. That is, until they found that they could be the ones doing the persecuting. As mentioned, there are themes.
There was less than 13,000 at the Robbie Williams concert in Slane in 1996.
So
I'm just saying.
there was like a Robbie Williams concert.
No, there's more. There was 18,000 at Robbie Williams in Slane. I don't know why that always sticks in my head, but whatever. Anyway, there was less pilgrims that came over.
Less pilgrims than a Robbie Williams concert.
And then caused more destruction than anyone who went to Robbie Williams in Slane would have.
And that brings us back to the saying of like Americans will use anything other than the metric system to measure things.
And they didn't even have Rocky Day. They didn't even have Rocky Day. So,
as mentioned, there are themes, and a big theme is their victimhood complex and paranoia. Under Charles I, when this all kicked off, he then banned emigration to the New World. And who reopened emigration to the New World in the 1650s, Justy? What
Oliver
English character?
Fucking Cromwell.
Oliver fucking Cromwell. Another of history's great bastards. The Puritans then went on to dominate. They were the dominant European influence of the New World until the early 1700s. That's how long like their direct influence was, which obviously then like it waned, but like continued to modern day, and that's the whole point of what we're talking about.
I have a Cromwell story.
Oh, no.
I need to tell it, right? So, my brother, not my MAGA brother, my good brother, lives in Wexford still, right? And he lives in Cromwell's Fort.
Oh God.
In Wexford, that's what the place is called, right? They had next door neighbors who had moved in and moved out like pretty much fucking straight away. So my brother and his wife had like actually had to complain about the noise several times because at like Justy, I think I told you this.
No, I maybe you did, but I don't remember that shit. But I'm just thinking that I know of Cromwell's Fort. I know people took like blocks from Cromwell's court. They went in and like took it down piece by piece, and they were like, "Fucking yeah."
So Cromwell's Fort is all like
fort, sorry, not court.
Gorgeous land, and mountains. It's a really nice area. It has like a lake and stuff like that. Like we used to like have to. So when my brother lived there, when he rented at the time, there was like this housing estate that was just built, but behind it was like fucking gorgeous, beautiful countryside, like whatever. But anyway, so my other brother, I have three. My other brother, like who bought his house that he lives in now with his wife and his two kids, and they had a next door neighbor who in the middle of the night now they had like made noise complaints before. Well, they didn't. They had knocked in and been like, "What the fuck is going on? Why are you so fucking loud at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning? We have 2 children, like whatever." And this family, they were like a Polish family. They were just like, "Yeah, no, sorry." Didn't really give any explanation, but they were just like, "We'll keep it down." Long story short, ended up in the fucking local newspaper in Wexford for the house being haunted. So in the middle of the night, basically all this banging and crashing that my brother and his wife had heard, the cupboard doors in the kitchen would just swing open, the cutlery and the crockery would just been fucking like slammed onto the ground, just thrown to the fucking ground. I think the kid had been woken up screaming. I think their kid was 2 years younger than my brother's youngest kid, so they weren't like, you know, they weren't the same age. They would like play together, but they knew each other, kind of thing. All of this mad shit would happen, and it was in the fucking Wexford Echo, the People newspaper, all of this shit, that it was like haunted house in Cromwell's Fort, like horror in fucking Cromwell's Fort, whatever. And
do you reckon it could have been Cromwell?
Oh,
it probably was
that
Cromwell.
whole area. So that whole part of Wexford is like horribly fucking haunted. Like if you go all through those woods and everything like that, there's stories for fucking wherever. But it's
Wexford is kind of it's weird because like it's just down there.
Yeah.
But like again, it's like the Kennedys, the Cromwells, the famine, fucking
Loftus Hall, everything happens
Loftus
in
Hall
Wexford.
Down there, yeah.
There's loads of fucking weird shit.
Freaky fucking place.
And so and that was the thing, and like Strawberries.
Strawberries as well, yeah.
But there was like a huge fucking thing on. My brother was like, obviously, like, he's just like, I don't fucking know, like I don't care. Like he's like he goes to bed, he sleeps through the night, and his wife is just up awake all the time. So she's like, she'll hear a crash next door, a fucking like glasses smashing, whatever. And she thought to herself at first, so like she's a very nice woman. She's a very like, oh, like what if it's an abusive relationship and we have to get that woman out of there? Do you know what I mean? What if it's people are in danger? That's where her head is going because she's waking up in the middle of the night to like fucking dishes smashing and like whatever. And that's where her head's going.
Just sounds like the Polish to me.
And then she like she don't start me. But she basically
I'm
like
joking.
she
I'm joking.
got it up the next day that I think like my brother was like in the office and whatever, and she was working from home that day, and she was like, do you know what? I know she's in there, as in the wife. I'm gonna just knock in and I'm gonna just talk to her and just gonna see like what's going on. I'm gonna just offer an ear or whatever.
Right.
And this woman, she was like, I'm so glad that you knocked in. She was like, I thought I was going insane. It's so nice to hear that someone else just fucking hears it. She's like, what are you talking about? And she was like, just, we can't sleep. We haven't slept in so long. Our children are fucking terrified. We go to bed and things are being thrown around downstairs. Doors are slammed. We think we have a night without it. There's someone storming up the stairs and storming back down the stairs. And she basically just sobbed and started pouring her heart out to my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law is like very, very Catholic, very like, you know, she was raised like very religious. She's like, well, you need to get the church involved. You need to do this. You need to do that. And she was just kind of like, well, I know that's not going to help. Yeah, she's like, that's not going to help. Like, whatever. And it was just, and she called me and she told me about it. And I was like, I was still living in my old place in the middle of the time because she knows I'm so into it, whatever. And I was like, well, you know, it's because you're living in a fucking place called Cromwell Fort. I'm sorry, but that's like, it's a lot of hate and just fucking bad energy that's going to just carry itself over.
Bad vibes.
And she was like, well, what do I do? And I was like, well, she needs a fucking exorcism or she needs to move out. And it got to a point where the neighbors started talking about it so much that it was in the fucking papers, that it was like House of Horrors. If you Google it, you'll probably fucking see it. It's like House of Horrors in Wexford. And then this poor woman and her family just moved. They were just like, yeah, we don't want anything to do with it. And apparently, like, so the house was like joined as well. So we've been talking about it and stuff, and I was like, oh, have you heard anything else? She's like, no, nothing since they moved out. There was nothing. And then there was a whole thing when she was like, I think like whatever was wrong was attached to the family and not the house. And I was like, you live in Cromwell's Fort.
The family were haunted.
Yeah.
That old chestnut.
That whole thing. And I was like, oh, you haven't heard anything? I was like, well, does anyone else live in there? And she was like, no.
It couldn't have been Cromwell because like if Cromwell was haunting like that place, he'd want the Irish out first.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Of course.
Just out of pure
not
habit.
A Polish
like
family,
he'd leave the Polish alone. Like he'd be like,
like
get the Irish out.
They're terrifying that house, and then like literally they realize that it's my brother and his wife and kids in the wrong house. He's like, fuck, I meant to go next door.
I meant to be in the house that's haunted by actual Oliver Cromwell.
I need to go to 18 for fuck's sake. But yeah, it's just, and that's like a huge fucking part of Ireland, and a lot of places in America, you have all of these like massive hauntings that date back to how fucking terrible it was when the English barged in and founded it.
They just did some bad shit.
Like, it's all this. The trope is the Indian burial ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so that's the kind of a thing.
And it's never that.
Yeah, again,
if paved over an Indian burial ground, and that's why you've got angry spirits.
I don't want to get down here. And again, I'm not infected by the woke mind virus here, guys. But just if I am saying Indian burial ground, I'm not trying to be derogatory when I say the word Indian. It's just like it's what
phrases in pop culture.
Yeah.
So again, like I don't know if Native American is what we're supposed to be saying, or Indigenous American or whatever.
It's how
it's Native Americans, I think, is acceptable.
I do hear people saying like it's fine to say Indian as well, but like again, if I heard like a bunch of fucking French people doing a podcast and referring to Irish people as paddies, I'd be a little bit like, hey up. I know
that's our word.
It's not as hurtful if you're not English,
care.
but like I'd still be like, Yeah, like
Hey.
ease up, like. So
Hey,
again,
That's your
if
goddamn
guys.
mouth.
I'm saying Indian burial ground, it's only because that's the trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back into this.
So here's where we get to one of the juiciest parts of the Puritans, and again, this is extremely.
Parts?
Jeez.
No, the Jews were not in America at this point.
Oh, to do it. Sorry, to go back to a Cromwell point. Did you ever hear the story about when they invited Bertie Ahern or to
Oh my god,
Downing
yes.
Street?
That's my favorite.
And
my
like,
favorite story.
so when Bertie Ahern was meeting up with like I think it was Blair at the time.
Blair?
Yeah. So like they invited him into Downing Street, and in number 10 Downing Street. I don't know if it's still the way it is now, but in the like foyer, like as you walk in,
they have Cromwell
at like a 10-foot
Yeah.
fucking picture of Cromwell.
That was deliberate.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But like it's funny, it's like getting
I've heard that
like
as well, that they were like,
inviting
oh, let's fucking
it's
rinse this man.
inviting Netanyahu over and having a massive picture of Hitler in your fucking in your foyer. Like it's just like, guys, come on, a little bit more tact.
I would.
That
if
was
I
just
had
a
Netanyahu
weird power
over,
move.
I would have swastikas. I would have everything. I would be like,
yeah. Okay, maybe that was a bad example.
No,
but I'm just saying,
it's that thing of like you put up like one of the, like a painting of like one of the worst people that you could put up for a person to look at, and it's just like, I see the power game you're playing here.
Yes.
Anyway, go on, Oisin,
okay.
please.
So one of the juiciest parts of the Puritans. So it wasn't the first church, but it was called the First Church, and it was the first Puritan church in Salem, Massachusetts. An early arriver by the name of Roger Williams landed in Boston, and he was like, one of the first waves of immigrants to come via the Puritans. And he landed in Boston, and he was offered, what would go on to become Boston. He was offered to be the pastor of the church, but he refused on contrarian grounds of, you're too close to the Church of England. So after a few more falling outs with various people in Boston and in other churches, he found his way to Salem, Massachusetts, where nothing bad happened.
Oh, never, ever, ever.
Now, while Williams was 60 years before the Salem witch trials took place, he was assistant pastor to a guy called Samuel Skelton, good Irish name.
Skelto.
And the pair of them, essentially, they set in motion the local culture and religious belief that eventually led to one of the spooky true crime's favorite events, the Salem witch trials.
Nice,
love it.
Because they were just a community of Puritans, and the Puritan pastor would just set the tone. Like it was like Catholic priests. They would set the tone for the town. They would control people's lives. They would tell people how to live
in their little heels.
So the Salem witch trials were a case of mass hysteria in which over 200 people were accused of being a witch, 30 people were convicted, and 19 were put to death or murdered by any other definition. 14 women and 5 men were executed because they were believed to be witches, when really a compelling case can be made that the town and its surrounds had acute ergot poisoning and were just tripping balls for the space of a whole year.
So that's one woman, one black woman who was a slave and who they had basically seen as the sourse of all of this. Tituba was her name. Basically, she was a slave.
Tituba.
Yeah, so she had a lot of obviously herbal remedies for things.
Yes.
And she was basically seen as a witch because these herbal remedies had worked for these
so
fucking
this stuff came
pasty
from
cunts.
where this stuff, she obviously had like remedies that would have been like African, or is it that
it would have been like natural remedies. She understood, like, if you boiled a certain root, you could get a compound from it, because like she came from a community that was more in touch with nature.
And she was basically like making teas and things like that.
The Brits were like, that's bad.
Exactly. Like these different herbs do different things, and you have like the same correspondences in witchcraft, where it's like different herbs will do different things in witchcraft, but it's also health-wise, you can brew anything into a tea to help combat different things and to do different things. So this woman basically was not even a medicine woman, like, because she was very much just like a house.
She was like just like my fucking mother years ago would have been like, put a poultice on your on your ingrown toenail,
or like nettle tea.
A poultice.
Yeah, you need
witch. She's a witch.
Whatever the fuck. But put on your it was basically just that, and because she was from a country that, like, so this was probably very fucking normal in in her country to be like, oh, you have this ailment, put this and this and that
Yeah.
on it, right? And because she's shipped over from fucking a different country to here, and she has these different ideas to do different things that like these fucking Puritan cunts would never have thought of. Oh,
But
witch,
it's funny as well
impure,
that
evil.
the Puritans were being fucking like obviously like 60 years beforehand or whatever it is when they landed. They were being rescued by the people of the land
Yes.
who were
Yes.
using
Yes.
the land to
Yes.
save the
And
Puritans,
they were just
but
like,
they were
oh, shit.
still they were too up their own arse to accept that
There's
kind of
always
stuff.
this layer of hypocrisy through like puritanical behavior
Yeah.
that goes
Yeah.
on till the modern day.
And
It's almost like hypocrisy is the point.
yeah, and
Yeah,
to just to jump back into this specific thing with the Salem witch trial. So the two little cunts that basically started this whole thing are the two daughters. One of them was a daughter of the new reverend in this town, and she was just a fucking bad egg. And her best friend were going out, and now we'll talk about this in a second. Oisin has notes on this that basically there was like a root that made the whole town high because it basically kind of.
No, it was it was ergot
Ergot.
poison.
Yes,
So it
yeah.
was like their grain stores
Yeah.
got like an
There's a
ergot.
mold.
Yeah.
It was a mold.
Yeah.
And if you eat it, you just get high as fuck and you hallucinate.
But these two little bitches had gone out and like actively consumed plants that would make you get high actively. And so they were doing that and whatever, and then like they'd come back to the town high as fuck, and they were told basically like, what the fuck, like, and instead of getting in trouble, they'd be like, oh yeah, like Tituba gave us this shit.
She bewitched us, and
that's why,
like one of the common things was that like a woman that they were accusing of being a witch would control them with her mind and make them hurt themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you know, I have this bruise because she did it with her mind, with her witchy powers.
And it's basically just like, they didn't.
So like with stuff like this, with like the Salem witch trial, like I am painting in broad strokes because like these are things that we can get into in more depth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with like you know, like other things that I'm about to mention. It's just that this is kind of just very rapidly us kind of running through history and dipping into these subjects. Like the Salem witch trials is a whole thing in itself.
We've done an episode. But
right. But it didn't survive.
But like, no, to be fair, right, when it comes to that, right, and we can go back to like what we're saying, a lot of it is just basically the Brits just fucking coming in and lying. And that's just what fucking happens. Like, so
with the girls particularly, what I would say is, sorry, Dani, to cut you off, but like I'm actually just kind of trying to piggyback on your point there of the lying. It's like when you've got the girls and there's so much rigid rules, especially with the Puritans, and then you've got, you know, hormones, your zest for life is being suppressed. You're out in this fucking place that is kind of wild, but you're expected to not be wild. And these young girls wanted to go out and play and do this. And when they get back, and it's like, why have you done this? Why are you bruised? Why are your clothes mauled? Why are you having
because she bewitched me?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then they turn around and they go, oh shit, it's you know, it's this chick who's it's the medicine woman or whatever it is that's after bewitching us because she's a witch.
Yeah.
So generally, witch trials were common in overly religious communities, and in my opinion, it was a way for religious losers to punish people that they thought weren't holy enough, or they were jealous that they had a husband, or they were jealous that they had a really cute bonnet. So in Salem,
is the cute bonnet. I love that.
In Salem, it was a couple of young girls who accused all and sundry around them of committing various acts of violence and harm through witchcraft. And when you're high as fuck and you don't know that you're high as fuck, all of this seems plausible. So the witch trial, again, to go back to an earlier point of how there are themes that go from Puritan behavior up until modern day. The witch trial is another theme that runs to modern America. The phrase witch hunt stems from this and can be attributed to people in power deciding that a small group or thing is causing a larger problem and the majority should hunt and seek these people or things and get rid of them, thus exorcising the evil. Prime examples are Native Americans, Chinese immigrants who built most of their railroads, Japanese immigrants post-World War II, Joseph McCarthyism and his hunt for commies, blaming metal music for school shootings.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's huge. Yeah.
blaming metal music for school shootings. That's another one. And today,
Titanic Panic.
blaming immigrants for all of society's woes, when really it's just a cabal of super rich pedophiles pitting us all against each other.
Shots fired. Take that,
Boom.
the
Shots
rich
fired.
pedophiles.
It's true, though.
like when I was writing that, I was just like, in my head, it was just Alex Jones's voice. You know, like it's bananas.
But again, like it's just, I think the way that I see America these days is just The Sims. Like it's just, you're just dropping characters into something and you're testing different plots, but it's happening in real time because nothing that ever happens makes fucking sense. Nothing that happens is logical. And the rest of the world is just watching it like, what? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
we're watching. So, like in V for Vendetta,
yes,
by Alan Moore,
yeah,
they refer to America as a place of, like, you know, filth and sin, and essentially the rest of the world had to lock America off.
It's like modern day city of
to
fucking...
lock off their negative influence from the rest of the world. And then, like, of course, V for Vendetta, the British government is like this dystopian, faux religious, like fascist government that is just like hell bent on controlling. But there's a throwaway comment about how, like, you know, oh yeah, the Americans are these like filthy, dirty things that we have to just, you know, lock them away from the rest of us.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like, I suppose if you consider like let's say the world is a science project, right? And let's just look at Ireland in the way that what you would have done here is you put like germs, you know, one of those science projects where you put germs into a little petri dish and you watch them grow and then it becomes like a mold or whatever it is, and you're watching it and it blossoms into this kind of a thing and it grows. Well, it has a lot of time to become what it is. But America is like, you have a petri dish and you take this mold, that mold, this whatever it is, and all these different influences, and you throw them into a petri dish, and none of them have ever reacted with each other before, and now it's all brand new. That's what's after happening here. So, like, you've got the likes of Ireland or even Britain, like, you know, these places have thousands of years to breed culture, to become what it is as a country. And America, in like, but they always talk about how it's 250 years old or whatever it is. But like that's not what it is older. Like since I suppose Columbus landed, so you were talking like 1500. There about 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah.
Like so, like 1500. If you think about that, within those the 500 years since Columbus landed there, you get all these people from all over the world landing there with all these different cultures who do not react or do not like they don't gel together very easily. Even like what we've already been through is like different versions of Protestantism doesn't gel correctly together. You get like now Irish people are living beside English people and no one is better than the other one because they're in this new nation that is coming up and there's conflict there. And then you get like they're after bringing a bunch of slaves over from Africa and now have to create their own identity over there in this new land. You've got indigenous people who are being stripped of their fucking land and their rights and they're being tricked out of everything. And you've got the French are coming down from the north after fucking like depleting that place from the fucking of all their beaver pelts. The Spanish are coming up from the south after fucking losing like this fucking war in Mexico, losing Texas, and then you've got all these new people are like that are fucking basically indigenous / Spanish people who are now part of America, and all these people are all like flooding into this one brand new country. And how do you make a culture out of so many different things without conflict? You know what I mean? It will, like, eventually it will settle into a culture, but the culture is, as we've seen now, this kind of crazy amalgamate, like, and it's such a massive landmass. Like fucking Florida is completely different than New York, and fucking you know, the Bible Belt is a completely different place than fucking the West Coast or the East Coast. It's this kind of like massive place where there's so many different cultures all coming together and just butting heads and clashing, and that's why we've got this weird divided country with like, and it's not just divided down the middle. Like the easy thing to say is like it's divided between liberal and conservative, or red and blue. Like that's the biggest divide in it. But then you go and look at on the ground and you see people, there's racial divides, there's cultural divides. You don't see it, but there is class divides because of the massive gulf with prosperity. Like you've got people who are on the breadline and people who like literally have all the money, like the 1% of people that have like 99% of the money, and they're in America as well. And it's just so like it's like in Europe or in Asia and like places like that where culture has kind of bred for thousands of years, and then you try and throw that into this one landmass and like see what happens in a few hundred years. It's going to get fucked up. Sorry, that was a big rant of like
no, like,
that's it's
It
perfect.
is absolutely perfect.
So the facade of religious purity.
Sorry, I actually have to take a breath after that. Like,
you did great, sweetie. You're fine.
So the facade of religious purity is another common theme that'll run through the series because it's used as an armor and a justification for shitty behavior. So if you listen to any of the worst American modern politicians, and as sure as shit, they'll speak in puritanical ways about their faith and how only God can judge and save them. And this is the vestigial tale of the Puritans. In fact, it is one of many vestigial tales that are left over.
Mm-hmm. Like even you see Trump like trying to get with the Bible thumpers in America, like where he's like, I love the Bible. Okay, what's your favorite verse? I love all of them. You know, he's not religious at all, but he wants to gain favor with them.
I love it all.
Yeah. And I think this is like a huge fucking thing as well, is that like these people who claim to be good Christians and like fucking whatever, like they're terrible people. They're always terrible fucking people. And it's like it's my brother alone. Again, we bring him up all the time on this podcast, but
you bring him up all the time.
I know, but I just have to say, it's people who like find God and who think that they're like whatever. They find God because they think that there's this like weird loophole, and I'm convinced of this, that they think that they can act fucking horrible in their day-to-day lives and then be forgiven magically when they're going. It doesn't work that way. But I think that's how Christians, especially in America, tend to live their lives, is that they just like, if they're doing something and like, okay, maybe it might be wrong, but because they're like, they worship God, they'll be forgiven at the end of it.
Yeah, they think Jesus is on their side.
Exactly.
And like they think that Jesus is behind them, pushing them to do every little action that in their. And I think that's one thing that like from Catholics, we don't have that to like when you get these whatever Protestantism you have, like they kind of think that like Jesus is going to support everything that they do because what they're doing is God's plan.
Exactly.
And with Catholics, what we have is fear and shame of God. And that's the difference. Like they don't have, first of all, they're Americans. They don't know what shame is. And they don't have the fear of God. Like they actually use this line. They go, "Oh, I'm a God-fearing American." No, you're not. You think that God is up. God is upholding all your shitty decisions in your mind. But the Catholics, especially, I don't know about the rest of them, but like us Irish Roman Catholics, who have been kind of downtrodden.
It's all shame.
Yeah, like it's all like we come into the world with original sin, and we're fucking we're ashamed of that from the day like we're told like fucking like you're going to hell unless, and it's not like God, we're gonna get to the kingdom. When I die, I'm going to get to the kingdom of heaven.
But there's
it's when you die, you better hope you were fucking good. Like.
And there's not anything that you can do that like you're gonna be accepted. Like, and this is the whole thing. I was like, well, there's no guarantee. Well, there's no guarantee. You can live your life to like the fucking like to a fucking word for word to the Bible, but there's no guarantee. And that's the difference, I think.
Either way, I think you're fucked. Like, it's like the Puritans who are like oh, when we get to the kingdom of heaven, like, you know, everything's going to be good, like afterwards, like.
But that's
So,
the
but like
thing.
you've kind of you're hedging your bet on that, and you're giving yourself a really shitty life,
Yeah.
you know, to hope that you're going to get there. And then there's also the other side of the coin is like, I don't believe in anything, so I'm going to be fucking again, which I don't believe that this is the case, because like I'd say I'm like atheist, like maybe not. Maybe I'm agnostic. I don't know. I believe there's some kind of cosmic thing out there that is the reason why
Agnostic,
we're
then,
all
I
here.
would say,
But
yeah.
I don't believe that in any kind of a
No.
God that's sitting on a cloud or anything like that.
Yeah, there's
But
nobody.
again,
There's no one absolute fucking being that.
yeah,
You know. Yeah.
I don't live my life in a kind of a hedonistic way.
Yeah.
Because there's no rules. Like it's
No,
not as if I'm going to
exactly.
hell when I
You
die.
have
It's just because
morals, like,
I have morals,
you
because
know
like
what's right and
I
what's
think
wrong. Yeah.
being a good person, I think, is important to
And
me. Like, but like, but again, if there is someone out there that's like, there is no God, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and then it turns out there is a God,
you're
you fucked
fucked.
up.
Yeah.
So like, what, like, whatever way you choose to live your life, we don't know what way it's going to be at the end of it.
I
But
think, like, honestly, so when it comes to all of this, like, and this is like a huge thing that I've had with myself, like, obviously, like, doing fucking witchcraft and stuff, which it does work, right? I have done shit that I can't explain. We'll say whatever, right? And you can believe it, you cannot believe it, that's fine, whatever.
okay,
I've no, then, and that's fine. Like, you can have that reaction.
I
Like,
know,
I don't care, right? But there have been things where, like, I've done shit that I can't explain, and I've had shit happen to me that I can't explain. Like, I've done, like, say, a fucking money ritual when I've been that fucking desperate that I needed something, and I've had an unexpected refund in my account the next day. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of shit that you can probably do, but I look at witchcraft and things like that as a manipulation of energy, which I think is a lot more plausible than just being like, well, I asked the man in the sky to do this for me and then it happened. No, you can manipulate energy. You can, like, manifestation is a very fucking real thing, where it's just like, if you can basically change the frequency that your mind operates on, and you can basically you can kind of like move that around to
yeah.
suit what you want it to be, to do whatever. Like, it's so fucking powerful to just, if you just believe one thing, it can happen. And I don't think it's
tell me this, you that has a belief in this.
yeah.
What what's your afterlife game plan there?
I don't have one.
But like, what's the sorry, not the game plan, but what's the belief?
I think we give back to the earth. And I think maybe it's a little bit of a cycle. Like, I mean, I would like to believe that it's kind of like reincarnation. I would love to believe that that is a thing. But also at the same time, like, I kind of like, I'm okay with it just being one and done, you know? Even though I think there's like, there's so much more. There's so much involved in everything and going on that.
Is there a consensus in witchcraft, or you know, that this,
or do you are you guys like moving towards your own civil war based on what you believe?
kind of, it does sound like that, because
So
it does sound like witches do. There is kind of different weird sects of.
I
of
mean,
witches.
alright, so I practice demonology, which is different to demonology. Demonology is a study of demons and stuff. Demonology is the worship and the practice, right? That's what I go by. And I don't know, I just kind of like, I feel like it's a thing where you just live your life how you want to live it, right? And if it's like cause no harm, you're fine. I don't think about an afterlife. I just think about, like, what can I do now in this life to not be a cunt, and to basically just live my life how I want to do it. Like, I don't know.
The Puritans would have fucked you.
I know they would
Yeah,
have.
they would have.
If they would have just heard any of those
Anything
words,
that
you
I
would have been
say,
done
I
in
know,
by
I
the
know.
Puritans.
Burned at the stake.
I know, but I mean, I tag the yes, give 1p option when I'm ordering Domino's. Like, they would have fucking hated me for that. They're just like, charity, fuck this whore. Like,
I would have thought more about the demons than the charity, but
It's fine.
So to go back to a point that you briefly mentioned earlier about like the Puritans and the state, or a religion and a state.
Yeah.
So the Puritans believed that the church and the state were one. So if you cast back to when we were talking about like their political and religious maneuverings within the UK that caused the Civil War, they were all about getting involved with how a country was run and how they thought a country should be run. Like they believed in the like, you know, Christian ethno state essentially. They believed that the church and the state were one. They were foundation of this belief, which is still seen across America with Bible bashing politicians on every level claiming that they were put there by God and they sleep with a Bible and a Glock because the apostles were packing, baby. And with this religious zealotry came the aforementioned Puritan given persecution. They executed several Quakers just for being Quakers. And like Quakers are like puppies. Like they literally just want good things for people.
Everyone loves them. They're baby, like they're basically like little not Dalmatians, golden retriever puppies.
No, but I know Quakers, and like they, you know, like they're peace loving people. Like it's about it's about community. So they just want like good things for people, and they're pacifists. The Puritans also hated the Jesuits because of their originating hatred for all things Catholic. They like what they used to do is in their towns, if a Jesuit came in, you know, just to exist in their town, they would banish them from the town and that would be it. But if that Jesuit came back to the town again, then they were just like, oh, well, now the sentence is death. Like now you've gone too far. We're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And when you say this, they were killed, like legally.
Oh no, not at all. Like, you know, this was like, you know, extrajudicial kind of killings. Like they would just murder them because they were like, you can't be here. Like this is you know, this is our town. Like this is not for you filthy Catholics. You Jesuits coming in here trying to oppress us.
Yeah.
We're the victims here. And then they just murder them.
Yeah.
So the Puritans were okay with the African slave trade because it is like, again, these are just like certain sects, but sects that like still cause like big problems. So they were okay with the African slave trade because slavery is a practice in the Bible. So, you know, that was another theme that runs through to today. Like modern white Americans will often justify hatred in their hearts because, quote, it's in the Bible.
The Bible.
They're often misquoting the Bible. Like, I'm stating the fucking obvious here, but they're often misquoting the Bible, completely misinterpreting it, or plain old ignoring the parts of it that tell you not to be a cunt. In some Puritans' defense, some of them were very strongly against slavery and advocated for its abolition.
Yeah.
Not all Puritans.
Yeah, hashtag not all Puritans.
Yeah, I'm starting a new movement.
Yeah, I kind of got into this a little bit. But like it's funny when I was doing my my research into this, kind of like again, I got into like so many different tunnels. Like for such a boring bunch of people, like the different kind of tunnels you can get dragged down from this. And obviously with the kings, all that, but like the slavery one kind of got me a little bit, like where it hooked me a little bit in because it was like what they were willing to do for themselves. Like when they got over there, it's still they didn't practice what they preached really. Like
it was the closer to power they got.
Yes.
The further from God they got.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And,
essentially.
And again, the theme continues to this day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Puritans' influence existed up until, like their heavy influence existed up until the establishments of the United States of America, but their sway had waned in the 30 years leading up to 1776. But they stuck around and their influence remained and reached into the 20th century. So Puritanism, you can say, grew into evangelicalism. Am I saying that right? Evangelism?
Evangelism.
Yeah.
Evangelicalism. Yeah, that's also the word.
Which continues and evolves all of the worst traits as discussed previously. So as I mentioned on a previous podcast, this is a nice little phrase that I threw out there, is that this has grown into a modern day Christo-fascism, which is just plain old fucking fascism in Christian clothing and rituals.
Pretty much.
So the current Trump regime is the prime example of this. It's full of people who claim to be honest, God-fearing Christians, but really they're just using that to appear pure and justify their hatred, racism, intolerance, and xenophobia. All of this traces its roots back to the Puritans who arrived on the Mayflower a few hundred years ago. It is very common to see these modern freaks with a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other. Literally. They take photos and put this on their fucking Christmas cards of them and their families with children holding guns. Nothing says baby Jesus like a polyester American flag t-shirt made by Asian slaves and an AR-15 assault rifle.
Man, you've done such a good job. Like, I'm sorry, but like this, what you've put together from
I've been
this,
thinking
like,
about this for a long time.
Yes, but like it's such a fucking like tapestry of absolute bastardry, and what you've put together here in the notes is actually fucking like really, really like
I'm
it's
really
concise.
happy with this. Because like there's hundreds of years of history that I'm kind of just like I'm cherry picking things from, because like, you know, you can do, you know, we could do like several hours on Henry VIII. We could do several hours on the English Civil War, like if we were a history podcast. But you know, we could do like there will be an episode on McCarthyism. There will be an episode on like, you know, what was when they banned all the booze? I should know this because I read a book on it.
Prohibition.
Prohibition. Like Prohibition was a bunch of religious lunatics who managed to get a big influence with the government at the time, and it was like a minority movement, but somehow through religion and through their Puritanism, and because there was a bunch of really religious politicians, they managed to ban alcohol in America in the 20th century.
Yeah.
And that is literally just like the line of Puritanism coming up, where they were like, all of society's woes is the fault of alcohol. And look, they had a point. Like, you know, alcohol has caused a lot of problems, but like, it's just the fact that they managed to ban it nationwide. And then like Prohibition is so funny because they banned it nationwide, but then there was just this whole industry of people who like made millions from bootlegging alcohol. And in the White House at the time, you could have a scotch, you could have a vodka.
Yeah,
of course, because like anytime there's this level of control introduced, the elites are still just like, we can do whatever we want. Like, you know, oh, alcohol is banned. Well, we have all the alcohol now.
Yeah,
like even when they lifted Prohibition,
Snowpiercer is a really good kind of.
Is that the train?
Yeah, so it's like a really good kind of metaphorical example of like class systems and how like the higher,
each car is a different
exactly
like
so the higher
caste
go,
almost
exactly like the higher you move up the train, the more kind of indulgence there is, and the more kind of you get away with that kind of stuff.
But yeah, like it just like each thing that I kind of brushed over, you can do so much on. And like I have a list of things that I want to do episodes on, and you know, just like leading up to like, you know, like I think you guys have done the Curse of the Kennedys, but like, you know, they weren't like, you know, like a religious thing, like they were like Catholics, but like they
got
there despite the Catholicism, I think.
I think that was definitely like a very much like a that was something else. Like,
but it was like that was one of those things where like Ireland is like so proud of the fact that like it was Kennedy's grandfather who left Wexford, went over to America, and then 2 generations later we had a president of America.
New Ross.
It was New Ross of all places.
It was like Kennedy's alpha, Joe Kennedy.
Yeah,
Joe
Big
Kennedy.
Joe.
Was it the grandfather or the dad that went over?
No, so the grandfather went over.
It was the grandfather.
But his father was
but
like
Joe was a maniac.
So he so he had whatever the thing that was in the Kennedys, this kind of risk taking. I won't say power hungry, but like I think Joe was power hungry. But his sons were more or less kind of just like they would do anything to impress the father. Like we've done a whole episode on it. But like,
because like
it wasn't for them. It wasn't religion. It was upwardly mobile, and also this stuff that there was a lot of inside trading. They got them money, like they got them influence as well. So like they were basically rigging the system to get ahead, and the fact that there was a Catholic president of the United States of America says a lot for the Kennedys themselves and their will to push past and to kind of really like bolster favor through like these massive kind of deals and stuff like that. So like, but it's actually crazy to think that there was a Catholic president of America because of exactly everything that you've just said today with the Puritans and how the Protestants and the Christians, these what is brilliant, this Christo-fascists.
Christo-fascism.
Absolutely brilliant, by the way. But like these guys have such a grip on American politics that like the fact that the Kennedys, but like that was one of those things that republicanism really fucking worked at the time, because it was like, okay, let's put this out to a vote, and there was no amount of spin that could have got people to not vote for John Kennedy, because JFK had like
obvious
he was
choice,
a
like
babe. He was just beloved by the nation.
He was the American dream as well. Like, you know, America as a country was like long established, but like, you know, he was the personification of the acceptable American dream in that he's a white European.
Yeah, white European who, you know, he fought for America. He's a son of an immigrant who came over.
Yes,
very,
not a pot to piss in.
Handsome as well. Like, I mean, for that time,
handsome and charming, and also like just like on JFK. Like, I know you guys talked about the Kennedys before, but like JFK, when you look at his speeches,
always want to talk about
look at
him.
Like he was so like he was such a statesman, and he was a great like public speaker. His speechwriters were great. The way he delivered them were great. Like I'm obsessed with the moon landings and the like upcoming attempt to get back to the moon with the Artemis rockets is like, you know, it's like porn to me.
Yes,
but I was watching like a documentary about Apollo 1 recently, and that's the one where they got like burned alive in the capsule during like a test run, and you know all of these documentaries, they play the JFK speech. You know, we do it because it's hard.
We choose not to go to the moon because it is easy. We do it because it is hard.
It's so hard to go to the moon. It's hard.
We'll go to the moon. And, you know, like, it's, you you watch that speech and...
I got a number. How about them apples? I'm going to the moon.
Is he from Long Island now?
That's Boston. Sorry. Whatever.
No, that was Long Island.
No, I've lived on Long Island. Long Island's more nasally. You gotta be like, I'm going to the moon to show you who's boss. That's Long Island.
So, thus ends our first trip into the world of what is wrong with America. The first of many concurrent psychoses that have shaped, molded, and destroyed that country.
Well said. Here.
Hey.
This was really good, really interesting, and for me, it's funny because like I said, when I was researching, it's like so many. Like there's a podcast about the Pilgrims. I listened to it.
Rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
No, but like I've gotten into like like one of them today. I had to switch off was like these conservative guys who wanted to bring Puritanism back. Like they were like, we want a church state, and it was like, they think that what the liberals think that we want to do is impose our power on the country, and that's not what we want to do. That's what they're doing. That's what the liberals are doing right now. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why do you want the power then?
Exactly.
Well, it's that thing of like, you know, they want to oppress, and then if anyone that they disagree with. If anyone they disagree with,
where are we at? No, what is Justy doing? I don't know. I don't. Why is his window bouncing? I'm sorry. What's going on? I'm scared.
Sorry, I just see Oisin did something, and I did
that by accident.
See if it worked for me.
But I know, but I had to see what it was. Justy has something to say, and it's bouncing, and I'm like, what?
Push the little hand. Push the little hand on your thing, and it'll. Yeah.
Is it doing it?
There you go.
Okay, all right. Fine,
anyways, this is terrible for an audio thing. So, Oisin, what were you saying?
I can't remember. So let's just cut that out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but this has been great because again, I've gone from fucking. I said fuck it. I'm gonna go all into this, and I've spent like days.
Yeah.
Because I like again, maybe I will get the notes from now on, because this is the first time that I've been like, okay, I need, when you were like, give me your email address so I can send you the notes, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take these notes because this is such a vast kind of a thing. It's not just like, okay, learn about the Salem witch trials. It's like when you say the word pilgrims, this goes back.
It's
this goes back to like, so how, like, this goes back to fucking like Luther nailing fucking something to a door. Like, so like when you have to go from fucking like Lutheran fucking practices in Germany all the way through like
to
England,
modern day, like
civil wars, then fucking
the Netherlands, then over to America,
and like, and all the time, like, you're hearing different points of views from different people about this. So when I'm listening to this, I'm listening to like English, the English point of view. I'm listening to Americans talking about it, and you get like all these different casts of characters that you hear, like, you know, like Cromwell, Walter Raleigh, you know, John Smith, John White, your man, what was his name? Gorgeous. There was one guy there that was Fernando Gorgeous, or I think he was Cortez, but they call him Gorgeous. And but
that
like,
was a wrestler, if I've ever heard of a wrestler.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But
Fernando Gorgeous.
There's all these like cast of characters. Then obviously I fell down Roanoke, Jamestown, like these settlements. The fact that like they were looking at Guyana as a place to settle as well, and I was like a pinball. I was like so interested in all this kind of stuff. And like, I'm really looking forward to like, obviously we're not going to do this like America next week and America the week after and America the week after. Because
this is going to be like every few episodes.
So we'll throw it in here and there. Like next week we'll get back to it. We'll probably, you know what? I was just thinking, Dani, we might get into if you want to do one of yours, if we do a Dani episode, and go down
some airy fairy.
But I was thinking something like, I've heard some really interesting stuff about Lilith.
I'd love to do Lilith.
So I think Lilith would be a good one. Again, I don't know. I'm just springing that on now. Like, but
I know I would love to do that. So the whole hierarchy of like Lilith and basically like Lucifer and his he had X amount of wives.
All right, save it for next week.
I love that. Yeah, there's a bunch of shit. I wasn't going to go into it. I just meant like there's a lot. No, I wasn't. There's a lot that we can talk about. Especially with her. So yeah.
But yeah, just so like we don't blow our beans on this America thing, because again, it's so fascinating. And I've gotten away with like the Selkie thing was kind of very Justy, and the same Brendan thing I think was very Justy.
Our editor, Alex, our beloved, who makes this whole thing possible, he has a gripe with you, Justy, for making. Yeah, apparently his ex-girlfriend has the same name as the main female character of the story that you've written.
The daughter, because the Selkie, it was never named. So
he's basically just like, well, this makes me not want to edit your podcast ever again. So apologize.
Sorry, Alex. If you could just send me a list of people you've fucked, I'll try and not put them into any stories.
That's what I said. I was just like, well, he's gonna know. I was like, stop fucking Irish women, and he was like, no.
Yeah,
he's right. He's right, Joe. He is.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, you're to blame in the fact that
Alex.
It was difficult for him to edit that episode. But yeah.
Some trauma would actually, as well as he actually put some effort into that story, so I imagine that he would have to have listened to that a little bit extra as well. Sorry,
I didn't listen to
Alex.
it. Did he put any music behind it? I didn't listen to it.
He was supposed to.
Did you listen to it? I didn't. I never listened to it. He messaged me about a bunch of things to do with the podcast. I'm like, I don't care. He just like,
Jesus Christ. Well,
okay, Justy, bring us home.
Well, now that Dani has said she doesn't give a fuck about this.
He was like, how many N-words do you want me to edit out? I'm like, I don't care.
Jesus. We need to timestamp whenever Dani says the N-word.
No, we had like this thing. Oisin hasn't been here for that joke. But basically, like I had a conversation with Alex ages ago, and we referenced this a few times in the podcast. Whereas basically, he was like, "Oh yeah, you only said the N-word twice in this episode." And so the whole thing is like, I get so drunk when we're recording that shut up, Justy. He's like,
It
I
wasn't
never
the
say it.
N-word.
I've never said it. But no, this is a joke that me and Alex have.
Oh,
That
okay.
he's basically like, he could blackmail me and say, I'm going to drop all of the episodes where you say the N-word. And I'd be like,
Right.
yeah, okay, cool, fine. Here's the money. Because I get so drunk that I forget what I've said. And he's like, no, you've never said the word. I was like, yeah, well, you could tell me that I have. And I'd be like, fair enough. Here's
I
my
just want
wallet.
people.
Yeah.
I just want people to know she's
I've never said it.
actually
I've never
said the
it.
N-word.
I've never said it. But Alex
I've been
has
here
been
and sober every time.
But Alex has basically been like, I could tell you that you said the N-word, like,
And you would believe it.
and I would believe it because I get so drunk that I'm like,
Fucking-
yeah, okay.
And she
Fucking
also has
dopes,
that
man.
personality type.
And he said that
Right,
he was
so
like, you would have to like. He was like, I could probably convince you that you need to issue an apology, and you would do it. And I'm like, yeah, I probably would.
well, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to
reason.
hear Dani say the N-word, join
That's on the Patreon.
join the Patreon. I don't know. If you want to contact us for any complaints, just leave a comment underneath this
That's
on Spotify.
Oisin Byrne at hotmail.com. He
Yeah.
will take all of the complaints.
I think
complaints.
it's OisinBurns6969 at hotmail.com.
Of course. Sick.
So next week we can look forward to Dani talking about demons or some shit. But this week I've absolutely fucking loved. I hope if
Loved
you
it.
are out there listening to this, this was all Oisin. You can thank him. If you were offended by anything, also Oisin.
Come at me,
Ladies,
bro.
ladies and gentlemen, she's been Dani. He's been Oisin. I've been Justy. Thank you for hanging out with us for a spell.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.